First off, Guillermo, obviously a lot of excitement around the announcement today. What does it mean to the track to get to host NASCAR Championship Weekend in 2026?
Thank you, Steph. It's a huge day for us. Clearly, it's a big honor to begin the rotation in Homestead to welcome championship back to a track that has such a strong history within NASCAR and particularly in the championships. So just a very big deal and a big honor for me and for the team to be able to welcome championship back.
Awesome. And we'll open it up to questions from the media. If you have a question, please raise your hand. You can use the raise hand function in Zoom, and we will call on you, and you can unmute yourself. And we will start with Mike Embry.
Hello. Thanks for the time today.
Thank you.
Ben mentioned some changes coming to the track. Can you be a little more specific about what's planned with changes at the Speedway?
Sure. The changes that we're only now just beginning to plan, to be perfectly honest, are mostly cosmetic. Certainly, we're not going to touch the track itself. The track is in excellent condition. It yields, some of the best racing anywhere. So for the most part, that will be left alone. There's some things to the facility that we have to do. We need to do. It can certainly use a fresh coat of paint. We're very close to the ocean, so the salt, tends to give the place a bit of a beating sometimes. But there are other things that we want to do to improve the fan experience when it comes to hospitality, when it comes to our Champions Club in particular. But when we look at the footprint of the track and when we look at the place, we want to make sure that we are looking at everything and make sure that we do things that will be enjoyed by all our guests. So regardless, which tier you're coming into, whether it's a high-end hospitality or a grandstand, we want to make sure that people have the best possible experience. So we're going to be looking at some very basic things, whether it's access, egress, things like that, but also how to make the place a little bit more comfortable and maybe find some additional ways to provide shade, which is always a nice plus here in South Florida.
Yeah. What are the challenges? You're sort of in Miami, but you're sort of not. You're out there a ways, and trying to link this idea of Miami hosting any number of championship events. What kind of work do you have to do to kind of get yourself into that circle?
Great question. So South Florida, as you pointed out, is just a huge sports market and that welcomes all sorts of national and international events. But it's not as big as people think either. In some ways it's a small town. And certainly when I go around and meet people at the Chamber of Commerce or the Beacon Council or any other institutions that we have, to me it's amazing how many people I know and have friends in common with. So it's not the biggest place in the world. I think people sometimes need to get out of their bubbles a little bit and explore the county a little bit more. But it's not the biggest place. I know traffic is a challenge, as it is in many other places, but that notwithstanding, it's not such a huge place. What we need to do is make sure that people have the opportunity to visit us as often as possible so they can realize that we're not as far as they might think. Whether it was the race in March, Formula E that we had a couple of weeks ago, our monthly drag racing series, Fastlane Friday, or Get Back at the Track, which is something that we do periodically also. The more activities that we have and the more opportunities we give people to come out to Homestead, I think the more they realize that we're not so far away. Adding to that, the fact that clearly, Miami is growing towards the south. So a lot of the expansion that's going on in Miami-Dade County is coming our way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. We'll go to Joseph.
Hi, thanks for taking the time today to talk to us. Since the finale to Phoenix in 2020, fans have been kind of yearning for the finale to come back to Homestead. Personally, how much has that meant to you to see the support, and how much has that driven you and your team to make this happen once again?
What a great question. That is huge. One of the reasons that I took the job was, or one of the factors that came into consideration was when I found out how much the drivers love the track. I have been around NASCAR for a long time, but it took the hiring process for me to really pay attention to certain things. And one of them was when I was told how much the drivers love the track. So it started with that. And then add to that, how much the fans love it. And, keep adding things. What Homestead-Miami Speedway means to the community in Homestead, to the history of Homestead. Most people know the fact that it was created following Hurricane Andrew and the devastation that, took place in 1992. That was really kind of like what drove the construction on the track. So when you look at that history and now be able to bring it back, to bring championship back, to me, it's a huge responsibility. It's a great honor. I know the team is incredibly pleased and proud, as well as they should be, because it's all their hard work that brought championship back. And we don't take that lightly. And we look forward to working with the people of Homestead and the city and the mayor, and not only Homestead, but in Miami-Dade County, to put on the best show possible. It's a huge responsibility, but it's also a lot of fun. And I know we're up to it.